It's a Republican government at all levels, right? State level, telling a doctor and a pregnant woman she cannot receive the medical care she desperately needs. It is the nightmare scenario come true. There it is, right now, happening before our eyes. The nightmare scenario the proponents of abortion rights have warned about for 50 years. It just happened to Kate Cox in Texas, and it is coming for everyone. Make no mistake. This movement, the one that you just saw pursue control over Kate Cox's body, to appeal to the state Supreme Court, to issue threatening letters to the hospitals, that movement is not going to relent. They will never give up on their aims of exerting that level of control over every single woman's body in this country. Every voter in this country needs to understand that they could be Kate Cox. And everyone in this country needs to understand that they could be Kate Cox's loved one. Kate Cox could be in your family, and you could be going through that. And we all will be if Republicans remain in power and expand that power. This is a central issue the Democrats must be talking about in this election, up and down the ticket. President Joe Biden did release a statement tonight saying, in part, no woman should be forced to go to court or flee her home state just to receive the health care she needs. But that is exactly what happened in Texas, thanks to Republicans' elected officials, and it is simply outrageous. This should never happen in America, period. And here's the thing. Republicans know that this spectacle, this despicable spectacle that just went on in Texas, is politically toxic for them. We can tell because they're trying hard to pretend that this didn't just happen. Get this. Yesterday, Fox News interviewed Texas Governor Greg Abbott and did not ask him a single question about Kate Cox. And today, both Republican senators from the state of Texas refused to say anything about it.
Do you support what the Texas Attorney General did in blocking Kate Cox from getting an abortion after she found out her fetus was unviable?
That's strictly a matter of state law,
Do you think
not
it was
federal
right?
law.
Are you worried about women in your state whose health may be at risk by Texas laws like Kate Cox?
Well, I'm a federal official.
But this is
I'm
something
not a
that's happened in your
official,
state.
so I'm not going to comment on what state officials are doing. I'm happy to comment on anything that I'm responsible for.
I wanted to get your thoughts on what the Texas Attorney General is doing in the case against Kate Cox and blocking her from receiving an abortion. Do you have any comment on that?
Just call her president.
Do you agree with Attorney General Braxton's actions and what he did?
Just call her president.
I actually haven't received an answer. So is there anything that you'd like to say right now on this?
Call her president.
Molly Duane is a senior staff attorney at the Center for Reproductive Rights, which represents Kate Cox in this case, and she joins us now. It's great to have you here. First, I don't want to violate any privacy from a woman and family that have already incredibly bravely put themselves out there, but I do want to ask how Kate Cox is doing at this hour.
She's doing as well as could be expected, but I do want to just sort of wind the wheels back and think about what she's been through over the last week and a half, right? A week and a half ago, she received the worst news of her life, confirmation that her third child had trisomy 18 and would likely be stillborn, or at most would survive for minutes, hours, or days. She was also told that because of her 2 prior C-sections, she was at increased risk for uterine rupture, hysterectomy, and as you said so eloquently, she wants to have more children. Yeah. She wants to grow her family. What did she do in the last week and a half? She found a lawyer. She decided to file a lawsuit. She received an order from a court saying, yes, you are entitled to an abortion. Then she had the Attorney General threatening her family and her doctors. Then she had the Texas Supreme Court say, no, we're going to put a hold on this. We need more time. And then she spent 3 agonizing days waiting for an answer before the Texas Supreme Court.
Right, I forgot. No. They paused that earlier ruling that said, yes, you can get this medical care. They said, no, you can't. Wait, we're going to think it over up here at the Texas State Supreme Court, whether we think you should be able to do this. And she just had to sit there and wait.
Right. So a week is a short amount of time for a court, but for a person, a real person in a medical emergency with young children and a family, it was agonizing. She spent most of the weekend in bed. And so I just really want people to put themselves in her shoes and think about who they want in the medical room with their husband and their doctors. Is it Ken Paxton or not.
One of the aspects of this case that I think it has highlighted is this notion of exceptions. There is, under state law in Texas, apparently exceptions for women that may need an abortion as a medical necessity. We have seen multiple women, including other clients of yours, Amanda Zurawski among others, who have been denied reproductive care they felt they needed under the exception law. What does it say about the actual lived reality of exceptions in the state of Texas or any state that has them if this is what plays out when a so-called exception actually applies?
This is what I really want people to understand about abortion bans. Exceptions don't exist. Right. Because if Kate Cox can't get an abortion, then I don't know who can. And you often hear about, well, 15 weeks is a compromise, or don't worry, there are exceptions. Republicans want to pass a 15-week abortion ban. I have heard politicians saying that. That would mean a national 15-week abortion ban that all of us are Kate Cox, because
and she's got nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go.
This is also, I have to say, there's a little bit in the ruling, a little bit in the weeds of the ruling, but I actually found this like such, Kate, my wife, who you know, the law professor, pointed this out to me. There's something so disingenuously bad faith about the court ruling, which basically says, well, if you can get a medical, like if it's a medical necessity, they say a woman who meets the medical necessity exception need not seek a court order to obtain an abortion. Under the law, it is a doctor who must decide that a woman is suffering from a life-threatening condition during pregnancy. Basically saying like, oh, what do you mean court order? Go ahead if it's medically necessary. You got the Attorney General of the state writing to threaten this woman with a felony conviction. And the court has the gall to say, well, we don't really see a court issue here. I mean, the doctor can just make the call. We'll see what happens. Let the chips fall where they may.
I mean, I'm laughing because it's not funny at all. But the courts are saying they don't want to be involved. The medical board says they don't want to be involved. The attorney general is not going to do anything to help and is going to run roughshod on the medical community in Texas. And meanwhile, real women's, real pregnant people's bodies and lives and families hang in the balance, and that should be deeply troubling to people across the country.
What does it say to you? And you're a lawyer. You're not a politician or a politician staffer. But what does it say to you that the two senators who represent Kate Cox, she's their constituent, have nothing to say about this? That Greg Abbott doesn't get a question about it when he appears on Fox. What does that say to you?
Well, I have to talk a little bit about Amanda Zurawski for a moment, because
she's been on this program as well.
Yes. So I also represent Amanda and 20 women in the state of Texas who are challenging these restrictions before I even met Kate Cox, because they and their doctors are saying as loudly as you can, we don't know how close to death we needed to be. Our doctors didn't know, and our health suffered as a result. And when Amanda Zurawski testified before the Senate Judiciary hearing, neither of her senators were in the room. They came in to make statements, opening statements about how much they opposed abortion, and then they left before she testified. So the fact that Ted Cruz ran away from reporters asking about Kate Cox doesn't surprise me at all.
I asked you this at the beginning. I want to just circle back around. Again, I don't want to violate privacy, but is Kate Cox and her family doing, I mean, I know it's been an awful, arduous situation, but is she doing okay?
She is. She's stayed offline, which I think was probably the best thing one could do in this situation. She's doing fine. I appreciate you asking. And I have to say, with the outpouring of support we have received from people across the country, wanting to know if she's okay, wanting to help, offering words of support, it has meant so much to us as her legal team, and that I have conveyed to her. And I also want to mention that all of the Zurawski plaintiffs, each of the 20 women who are suing their state because they too were forced to become septic or travel out of state or put their, uteruses and lives and children on the line, they have suffered this roller coaster with her. The highs, the lows, the disappointment in their politicians in their state, the lack of guidance and real empathy, and talk about being pro-life. Where is the government for these families and these women? It's nowhere to be found.
I should note that in your update to the court, you did not want to moot the case, despite the fact that the facts have changed, that you want to pursue it. We will see if that continues. Molly Duane, who's doing great lawyering, and thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.